Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of NRL Supercoach Off the Bench TLT Round 18. We're up to and a lot to go through. Some interesting ones here. So, welcome to Timmy. Thanks for jumping on.
No, it's awesome, mate. Looking forward to this. I haven't seen the team list yet, but I know you've given me a slight preview and said there's a few curveballs in there, some of which I actually really like because I don't have them. So yeah, let's wait and see what carnage this week brings.
It's good to have you back on after missing Sunday night. Good to see you did the right thing and opted not to come on your wedding anniversary. I guess you didn't want to be in the doghouse.
No, mate, 12-year wedding anniversary. I was after being away with my son for 3 days up at a football tournament up on the Sunshine Coast. Yeah, I wasn't going to push it on Sunday night and say sorry, love, I've got the podcast on. So yeah, I'm certainly getting wiser as I'm getting older, mate.
You're learning. You're learning. All right, first game is Thursday night. It's the Eels versus the Rabbitohs from Combank. For the Eels, Sivo's out with an injury. Jake Targo will debut on the wing. Charlie Guma will make his debut off the bench with Makatoa to drop out. For South, they get Cam Murray and Latrell back after missing their game through Origin. Chi Kim goes back to the bench. Jai Gray drops to 18th man. Liam LeBlanc goes back to the reserves. I don't know if there's a lot to talk about here, but Cameron Murray, it's interesting, Tim. Cameron Murray's been named on an edge, so Colin Matangi keeps his spot at lock. Obviously a bit expensive now, but Cam Murray might be one to keep an eye on after Origin. 550k, break even about 78. What's your thoughts on him for their run? Or
Yeah,
do you
look,
think it's all about bringing keepers now that you know you want to keep to the end though?
yeah, I don't know if Cam. I mean, Cam Murray's obviously got the Supercoach pedigree. So if he gets the minutes that he traditionally has had once the rep season is over, then absolutely he's a pretty safe for sort of 65 to 85, really. If he can get back to that form and he only needs a try or some decent attacking stats to get a little bit more. So the guy makes a mountain of tackles, does a lot of work up the middle of the park. So look, I don't mind it at all, especially under 600k. It's certainly a good bit of a pod route when everyone's zigging. Maybe you can zag.
Mm. Just a couple of new dual position players to mention from this game. Blaze Talangi has now been given dual position centre wing fullback, I believe it is. And we've also got Jack Whiten, who's got centre wing 5/8 now, and Cody Walker's got halfback and 5/8 dual as well. I think that's pretty much it. Anyone else you like from this game, Tim, at all?
Look, I
I
put
I
in.
sold Blaze Talangi last week and sold him to Toto, who didn't end up playing, and I kind of wish I'd have reversed it, but all stuck at work and didn't happen. But I think he's a hold definitely until at least after round 19 for those who are playing overall.
Yeah, look, what I'm actually looking at now with the news of obviously Joey Manu getting injured over the weekend, he's probably out for a month. I'm now looking at, I was trading Blaze Talangi last week to Fletcher Sharp from the Knights, banking a couple of 100k and going from there. Look, what I ended up, 400k. I ended up holding due to the fact that I was nowhere near my phone and too busy watching kids football, but it actually worked out quite well in the end. So look, I'm thinking I'm going to hold Blaze now for probably the next month, and he might be my ticket straight back to Joey Manu for almost a sideways trade, I guess, as far as cost goes, as long as Blaze doesn't bomb out over the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah. I think Mitch Moses is another interesting one as an option, but I think we all need to have our eyes glued on Nico Hines, obviously, and Nathan Cleary possibly returning next week as well.
Hmm.
Maybe the week after. Right, well, let's go to the next
Also,
game.
just
Yep.
as a bit of a pod play, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I actually brought in Alex Johnson as a nice, cheap alternative to some of the other centre wings. He's priced just under 400k now, I think. So I've held him, I brought him in to have a good look at for this nice South run home that they've got.
Yeah, you never know. You might come good for their run.
The hardest part's going to be trying to pick the games to play him and when to play him and when not to.
Yeah.
He can go 120 at any point. He can also go 30 at any point.
I think we spoke about this previously that we'd all prefer to have Cody on the left side over Jack. I mean,
Mm.
Cody's the one who was obviously setting him up for a lot of his tries as well. So that's obviously be ideal, but you never know. Right, next game, Sharks versus the Titans. For the Sharks, Sione Katoa's out with concussion. Interesting choice here, Timmy. Daniel Atkinson comes into the side on the wing.
Mm.
Tom Hazelton to start at prop. Rudolph goes back to the bench for the Titans. AJ's back from injury, so he takes over from Jaden Campbell's, who's out injured. Jojo Fafita's back after illness. Phil Sammy goes back to centre. Bo Firma drops back to the pack. Fodawaker returns from origin duty, so Pahu reverts back to the bench, and Alec and Tino's brother Famawasu makes way. Daniel Atkinson's interesting choice on the wing. I would not have seen that coming at all. I thought maybe they'd put Talakai centres, move maybe Raymond or Ira on the wing, or even bring in young Stone Street, who had a game there earlier in the year. This has surprised me.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I guess now it's a case of they want Daniel Atkinson in and around the team. He's obviously a versatile type player, and maybe it's a bit of a safety net too in case something does happen in the halves. If Nico does go down or something like that, they can obviously move Daniel Atkinson over into the halves and move someone like Talakai out into the centres then. So maybe it's a bit of a security blanket as well.
Yeah. The Sharks very popular at the moment. I think I don't think they've got another game against the top 8 side for the rest of the season. They've got a really good draw. I know Mulatalo was popular last week. Tell you who else was popular last week? The one we bought in, Nikora.
Yeah, Britton
was another
Nikora.
one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to see Dave Fafita named this week as well. By the way, he's back. Hopefully he does actually play this week. I actually like the matchup for Fafita this week. I'm actually thinking I might VC him this week in this game against the Sharks.
Yeah, look, I think Nico will be highly VC'd this week, and maybe some left field options like Mulatalo as well, especially with Katoa not playing. I think there's probably a lot more chance then of them going to that left side rather than the right, hopefully. I've got Nico, I've got Iro, I've got Mulatalo as well, so I'm really hoping they go left and go hard left all day long.
I've got all them too. I did an article today on the buy, hold, sell. I'm still not. God, Nico. I really want Nico this week, but I feel like he's not a must. And this is weird to say because he's so cheap as well. He's like 730K, break even of 115, which you could easily get this week. But I really, geez, his game's off. He's due to hit back. We know what he can do, but man, I really don't like Trindle in those halves. He just hogs a lot of the ball. I just don't. I'm on the fence with this one on what to do, to be honest with you, Tim.
Yeah, look, mate, I couldn't agree more. It was really interesting with everyone having the chat about bringing in Mulatalo last week. Look, I've had Mulatalo basically since the start of the season, and he was rubbish for the early rounds. And the issue was Trindle taking the ball off him. And then I was really surprised last week when Trindle was named and like basically the team that Sharks were putting out, everyone kept getting excited saying, oh, Ronnie's going to score 100 plus because Trindle's back in the team. I thought some people have got some really short memories because earlier on in the season, he was the one that was costing him points going that way. So look, I wasn't a big fan. If I didn't have Ronnie, I actually wouldn't have traded him last week anyway. But that's just my opinion. And like I said, I've been watching him since game 1 of the season or close enough. So look, I don't get all the hype. I'm not trading him out because of the run that they've got, but I'm also not real confident with playing him week in, week out either.
Yeah, it's the same with Nico. If you've got him, you obviously hold him, but trading him in, geez, I'm on the fence. I've got like 4 trades I want to make this week, so I don't know which way to go at this point, but see what happens. All right, next game is Broncos versus the Panthers.
Hold on, just go back a step. Yep. What duels have come out of this game since? I know Bo Firma has now been added to centre wing as well.
Bo Firma.
Oh, sorry.
Bo Firma, centre wing, second row forward duel. I believe that was the only one, I'm pretty sure, from that game.
Yep, cool.
Timmy's Broncos versus the Panthers. Broncos get Walsh, Carrigan, and Haas back. Dean Mariner shifts to the centre. Corey Yates returns from a knee injury. But Tony Staggs is out due to personal reasons. Jetski is out injured. Fletcher Baker's out injured. For the Panthers, they'll get all their origin players back as well. Edwards, To'o, Luai, and Martin. Isaiah Yeo returns to the starting side after coming off the bench. Dane Laurie, Liam Henry, Matt Eisenhuth revert back to the bench. Timmy, is this going to be the start of something for the Broncos or what?
Yeah, look, mate, I'm going to be at this game, and I really hope so. Obviously, we've lost 3 in a row, and it's been a while since that's happened. So, look, we really need to start to get on a bit of a run. Otherwise, we're going to drop well and truly out of the 8, and that's obviously not a good thing, especially with still some rep footy to be played, and obviously we lose some of our key players for those games. So, look, I really hope that this is just the point of the season where we start to kick on. And look, there's no tougher opponent than the Panthers. But playing the Panthers without a Nathan Cleary is probably not such a bad thing.
Just going to mention one name. This bloke's on my radar as well, but far out. Like, I want him so bad, and it's gonna come into my team month after Origin. It's a matter of whether I try again, take 2 to pull the trigger this week, and that's Brian To'o. He's expensive, 776,900, but has a negative break even of -30, which I don't know how the hell that worked, because he didn't even play last week and it was -21. So there must be some magical hoo-ha number that they pull from somewhere, but his break even's actually gone down.
Yeah, the magical multiplier number changed this week, that's for sure. So, look, I know a lot of people are really keen on him, and rightfully so. As a much cheaper alternative, the second that Nathan Cleary is named, I think I'm going to jump on Isaac Tungo as a bit of a way of, again, zigging when everyone else is zagging. So, look, the hard part is at this time of the season, you can't have the same team as everybody else. I think the Joey Manu going down after last week is going to affect a lot of people. Man and his dog, seems to be bringing in Greg Marju this week, or Best from the Knights as well. Look, everyone's trying to jump on To'o, and you obviously can't have all of them, but at the same time, you don't have the same team as everybody else. So it's great to have Ronnie and Iro and Young, and look, there's only so many that you can have that everybody else has had. Otherwise, we're all going to score the same points each week.
Yeah, just on that, I mean, a lot of us own Manu, and I think he's about 620K. I mean, for 50K more, you can go to Best, or you can get 120K change by going down to Marzu, but you actually have to fork out 150K to bring in To'o. But I just think he's an uber pod, massive pod. You know, like, everyone's going to want him after Origin, and you're going to be paid. So if he makes 88, the score of 88 this week, he will be close to 900K next week.
So, yeah, absolutely. It really is a case of pretty much now or never. But obviously, he's not going to play round 19. When do the Panthers have their bye, or their bye?
I'm just checking that anyway now. So they've got to buy round 19.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, so they're done for the season after that. So, I mean, he's not going to play 19. You'd hope that he gets named in round 20. And from memory, I think they actually play later in round 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, it's feasible then that he does get named in round 20 and for the run home. But I think once Nathan Cleary's back on deck, I think they're going to want to name their best 17 as soon as they possibly can to start to get a bit of a groove on. But obviously they will want to try and give some of their Origin players who've had a pretty tough couple of months to try and give them as much time out as they possibly can, and that might be during training rather than game days.
I really like the draw. So after Origin, Dolphins, Dragons, Knights, Eels, Storm, Raiders, Souths, Titans, and you've got 5 of those games are at home. Like. Man, far out.
Pretty good draw for the run home.
Far out. That's all I can say. I really like that draw.
And that's just it, mate. That's where it is feasible that maybe you can go To'o and someone like Isaac Tungo.
Yeah. Payne Haas, I'm definitely getting in after Origin. He's another one who I really like as well. So, and for those who still own Liam Henry, I don't know, you still got him, Tim?
Yes, mate, I do. Yeah, and a pretty happy hold at the moment.
He's probably going to be a cash out soon, right? I mean, with the Origin teams Origin players back. They don't play round 19, so he may not start again this year unless they rest some players come round 20.
The
Probably
only
sell
thing
soon, right?
The only way that I've looked at it though, mate, is the fact that he can play through the middle or he can play in second row. And he's actually been playing really well out of that right-hand side second row spot. So look, if they do have an injury or if they do want to rest players post-origin, then he's still a pretty good hold. I don't think
Yeah.
his BE is ginormous. So look, he's still going to make some cash. He's probably a pretty handy third front row forward, I guess you could say. Certainly much more reliable, I would think, than Sam Hughes for the run home. So look, I'm probably going to hold him and he can stay there for the rest of the year. Sam Hughes will be the one that I nuff out.
Rightio, next game, Bulldogs versus the Warriors. For the Bulldogs, Connor Tracy returns from concussion. Jacob Kraz goes back to the wing. And Skelton drops out of the side. Kurtman returns from suspension. Blake Taft goes back to the reserves. For the Warriors, there is no changes. Who do we like here, Tim? Another one I've had my eye on for weeks is Mitch Barnett, but can't bring him in now because he'll play Origin 3. But other than him, is there anyone else at all that you like from either of these two teams? There's not really much here to like. Max King's at a good price. I know, Tim, you've owned him before.
Yeah.
Starting to churn out some decent minutes. We even saw Sam Hughes churn out some decent minutes on the weekend as well. But I'm seeing a lot trade out Aiden Flynn or Blake this week, and I'm just not convinced that it's the play to do.
No, I think AFB's a hold till the end of the season, surely. The people that are
Yeah.
trading him out, I would assume that they're trading AFB out to bring Haas back in. I can't see there being a world where you'd want to make too many more changes in the front row unless you really needed to. I mean, you've got guys now, especially with dual positions kicking in and things like that. I mean, you can play Josh Curran there. I'll probably try and bring in Ruben Cotter, Max King, one of those sorts of guys who I started the season with for the run home, but I'll be waiting till after Origin until teams are sort of a little bit more settled. But I definitely need another front rower. People have been jumping off Tyrrell May, and look, I said it a few weeks ago when people were jumping off that I was quite happy to hold. I think Robbo's now starting to work out that he is a bit more of an enforcer and a bit more of an attacking weapon than what they were using him for at the start of the season. When he played 80 minutes, he's just absolutely killed it. So, look, I expect him to get a few more minutes. Obviously, they got Jared Weir-Hargraves' milestone game out of the way last weekend. Mind you, it seems like every second week at the moment, JWH has a milestone game in one form or another. But I think that's him for a little while now. So, look, I hope they keep playing Tyrrell May in big minutes and keeps getting the attacking spots, attacking stats, I should say. I'm happy to hold. And like I said, he'll probably be my number 2 front row forward. And I'll be looking at bringing in Payne or AFB, or it's really going to depend on money, to be honest. It may even just be a Curran or a Cotter or somebody like that I can just bank on 50 to 65 points every week and not worry about the higher ceiling guys, but then use the money to go somewhere else.
Timmy, Reed Marnie, talk to me. 614K. JMK is obviously out from what we believe is the season yet to be confirmed. For an extra 70K, would you be considering it all going to Reed Marnie?
Yeah, look, it is an interesting one because I've got Robson from the Cowboys and JMK, so I've got to do something there. I obviously don't want to hold 550K or whatever sitting there and doing nothing. Has it been definitely confirmed he's out for the season yet?
No, but it's sounding pretty much like it is.
Yeah. So I'll absolutely be holding JMK until more information comes out. If he's out for any longer than a month, I'll probably can it. But whether or not I drop him and bring in a second hooker or whether I nuff him out, at least then if there's an injury to Robson, then it's just a straight swap to pretty much anybody else. But I'm not necessarily convinced with Reed Marnie. To be brutally honest, I think the way that he's playing at the moment, he's scoring the super coach points and he looks good in games and things like that. But surely he's one step away from doing something ridiculously stupid and getting himself sent out for the put on the sidelines for a while. He seems to be in it every week. There's so much niggle in the game now from him in particular that it's just getting a little bit over the top. Surely sooner or later someone's going to sit him on his ass somehow. Or he's going to snap and do something really dumb that gets him a few weeks on the sideline. So at the moment, he's a no from me.
Every week I watch the grub in action. I love what he does. He's just a niggler. He really
Mm.
is. He gets on people's nerves. He did it a couple of weeks ago. I think it was to Gutho, and then he was doing it on the weekend in that game as well. He did it to Nico. He was in
Yeah, it
Nico's
was him
face.
and him and Nico
Him and
were
Nico.
in each other's
Oh
face.
Jesus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
well. Anyway, yeah. Look, I don't think he's the worst option, but anyway, let's move on.
I'll just say
The other
really
one I think
quickly, a lot of people have jumped on Tamari Martin as a bit of a pod play for the run home. Look, I don't hate it now that SJ is just about ready for retirement or a pine box or something. I don't know. He's really struggled. So look, I've got Tamari Martin in draft. I think he's a great draft player, especially for the run home. I'm pretty happy when I brought him in at, I don't know, he was about 350K or something like that when I brought him into my draft team. I mean, not that it matters for draft, but that's what he was in Classic. So look, I don't hate that. I know a lot of people are still talking about DWZ. I don't know how you could do it. The guy can score 120 or he can score like negative 20 just about. So he's not one that I'd be bringing in for the trip home. I think he's an AE nightmare, and I don't think he's the kind of player that you can play on matchups either. I think it's just too hard to pick with the Warriors.
I think with Team Murray Martin, I think that ship sailed a long time ago, right?
Hmm.
You're looking at 700K for a 5'8".
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't do it. And he's a fullback duel, but you can't put him at fullback because there's too many options. You got
Yeah,
Turbo
mate.
back this week. You got Ponga back this week. You've got Walsh after Origin. Like there's just too many options there.
He'd
You
only
know,
be something
today.
that you'd grab if you were playing someone like say Jaden Campbell as well. So you could have one in fullback, one in 5'8", and then for your run
Yeah,
home as a
no,
bit of a pod thing, and you could flick between the two of them if you needed to if there was an injury.
I'm not convinced at 700K, mate.
Mhm.
I'd just, when SJ comes back into that team, if he does, there's talk that he may not play again this season. Look, who knows what they're going to do? I mean, Team Ray Martin's averaging nearly 96 points without him in the team.
Absolutely.
So, I know a couple of people have had him for quite a while. And well done to them, but I just don't think he's a trade in now. I just think it's too late.
Yep.
Just think for 700K, there's better options. I'd rather spend that cash elsewhere, to be honest with you.
Yep.
All right. The other one who did get dual position from this game, I think, was Bailey Haywood as well. Matt Burton's highly traded out this week. Makes no sense to me. I think he's a hold for now. Don't know if he's a hold for the rest of the season, but I'll be holding him for now unless you're trading him to Nico, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. I agree, mate.
All right. Next game is the Tigers versus the Storm at Leichhardt. Charlie Staines comes onto the wing. Batape drops out. So moves to the centres. Thank goodness the Potato and Aiden's dropped out. See you later. John Bateman returns to the starting side. Heath Mason goes to the bench. Ruben Porter goes to 18th man. That hurts. Wow, we'll talk about that in a minute. Justin Mullins listed amongst the reserves. Pappy's back, so Logo reverts back to the bench. Davis Coates is out 6 to 8 weeks with a hammy injury. Kane Bradley comes into the side on the wing. Harry Green's been rested again. Remember Smith's been included as 18th man coming back through New South Wales Cup last week. Him, talk to me. Ruben Porter was very popular a couple of weeks ago as a cheapy downgrade option. I
Yeah,
thought
look,
he looked okay last week. He's gone from in the starting side to out of the team completely.
but this was the conversation that we had a week ago, mate, in
Mm.
regards to John Bateman. We knew once Bateman was coming back in, he was going to walk straight back into that side, just depended on whether he was playing 11, 12, or 13. But yeah, look, I'm not surprised on that one at all. I stayed well clear of Porter. I thought it was inevitable that he was going to drop out eventually. He's obviously only there for injury cover, and we'll wait and see what happens there. But I can't see him finding his way back into that squad without there being some pretty hefty injuries.
I wasn't expecting him to start, but I was expecting Bateman to come straight back in. But I thought that Porter would go to the bench, not Mason.
Mm.
So, and it's interesting because Matt Miller, who hasn't really been setting the world on fire, Tim, is still holding that lock position too. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll wait and see, mate. Maybe they're looking more towards next season rather than this season, and who they can blood into which spot.
Uh, Harry Grant out hurts a lot, Tim. I
Yeah,
know he's
mate.
only rested again, but I'm very surprised given that they've rested him again.
Yeah, look, there's obviously an eagle there, and he needs the time out. So whether it's a physical injury or a mental injury or something going on, who knows? But look, as far as I'm concerned, from a pure Supercoach point of view, for me being greedy, look, I love it because I've dropped JMK, I've lost JMK and got Robson. So yeah, look, I'm glad that other people are missing out on Harry Grant, and there's obviously a lot of people that'll probably have Harry Grant and or Appy and or JMK. So yeah, it's we'll wait and see.
I actually like this too because I panic traded last week and traded Harry Grant out. So I don't own him
Yeah, that's right.
anymore. I did
Yeah.
a little panic trade. So I'm actually quite happy by it too. I was shit scared to trade him out for this game because I thought this if he's going to go like he's going to turn up, this is the game that he's going to turn up. And now that
Mm.
he's not playing, I don't feel so bad about it now, to be honest with you. Obviously, Faya Logos are selling now, Tim,
Yeah, mate, absolutely.
as well. He's got to
It's
go.
sorry, Jack Howarth named for the third week now in the
Yes,
centres.
yes.
Little bit of a possible pod play
No.
there. No,
Oh, pod play. I thought you were going to say dual position. I was going to say
no, no,
no.
no, no,
No.
no, no, no. As a pod play.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, could be. I haven't had a proper look at their draw to see how good their draw is.
Give me
What
two
have they got
seconds.
here? No,
I'll
I got
jump.
it here. You're right. Tigers, Roosters, Para, St George, South, Penrith, Dolphins, Cowboys, Broncos.
Yeah, so look, they've got the buy-in
It's
right.
okay draw.
They've got
It's
the
an
buy in
okay
round
draw.
19, and then obviously play the rest of the season. So look, he's I think he from memory he was priced at around about 350K, something like that. So he's not basement price, but I mean you wouldn't expect anything different when he's getting paid $500,000 a season from the Storm. But look, mate, I think it's probably a case of they just need to play him now. They're paying him enough money. They need to have a really good look at him. If it doesn't work, then at the end of his contract, he moves on. But look, they've got to give him a decent crack. They've been paying for it for long enough, and it's his turn, I think. So
Who,
even if there's some injuries, I think he probably stays there.
so who drops out for Emma Smith? Is it Grant Anderson or Howe? One of them's going to drop out, but I don't know which
Mm,
one.
yeah, look, I don't know, but well, wouldn't they just move someone around and Kane Bradley drops out?
I don't know. They could
Because
move
Grant,
Anderson. They could
yeah,
move Anderson
Grant,
onto the wing.
yeah,
I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen?
yeah, I'd
I
say that's
actually just noticed that Adam Dewey's been named too, Tim.
yeah.
I thought he would have got suspended for that hip drop. He got sin bin for it, but there's nothing on here about him going on judicial or anything.
No, I'm assuming he just got a fine or they dropped it.
Wow. All right, let's roll on. Cowboys versus Manly. Cowboys get all the Origin players back this week after resting them. Finafaki, McIntyre, and Edwards all go to the bench alongside Griffin Nime. Tommy Turbo is the back, but in the centres.
Mm.
And unfortunately, my man Levi Hopewadi has been shafted from fullback to the bench for Cooler to play fullback. Ruben Garrick's back from concussion. Ola's back. Gerbo's back. DC's back, as is Aoli. So Leo Hopewadi, Nathan Brown, Carl Lawton will come from the bench. Oh man, I don't like this for Leo Hopewadi, man. I mean, that's got AE nightmare all over it.
Yeah, look, it's a really interesting one, isn't it? I would be keeping an eye out for a late change and maybe he drops out and Brad's man Cantong goes back into the number 14 spot, surely.
But old Cantong, mate, he just re-signed for another season with Manly too.
Yep, and
Pretty
that's
sure Brad's happy about that one, eh, Brad? I'm sure you
yeah.
are. You'll be watching later on after you do your
No,
shift, after he does his shift at the Rissole.
no, that's exactly what I reckon, mate. I think that's probably what will happen if Turbo's fit. I'd say Hopewadi's only there just, I guess, for the captain's run and everything during the week and see how training goes.
It's annoying.
Um,
It's annoying.
yeah, I've got
What I don't understand is when Turbo was originally injured, why did they not put Why did they not put Cooler there in the first place instead of putting Hopewadi there? Like got to be
But
a
they did
reason
though, because
for it. Hopewadi's
Cooler
been
went there.
killing it.
No, Cooler went there first. Remember at Magic Round, Cooler was playing fullback.
Yeah, and then he got dropped for Hopewadi. He's been killing it. I
Yeah,
don't know what
because
the hell Seabold's doing. This is frustrating.
I
Very
thought
fr.
Cooler got suspended the week after
No,
Magic Round, didn't he?
no, no. Just
Mm,
got put back to the centres. And this is annoying because Hopewadi's at like 400K, so it's a really awkward price to
mm.
do anything with. I don't know. Anyway, too depressing for me. Anyone you like in this game, Tim? On the
Look,
way, Olaquadu's cheap.
absolutely. I've jumped on Olakuatu this week as finally Smithies is going to leave my team. Hail Mary.
Hey,
Yeah.
hallelujah, praise the Lord.
That's exactly right, mate. So no, I've had Smithy since the start of the
Oh,
season, and every week tried. I don't know. I think I've traded him out about 6 times and reversed every time before game day. So yeah, this week my crib is
he's
going to be
under
the week that I get rid of
600K.
him.
How juicy, under 600K too.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's exactly right, mate. I
far
penciled
out.
him in. I penciled him in 3 weeks ago when he finally dropped
My
below
God.
600K. So yeah, absolutely, mate. I'm jumping on him.
Cooler, one to keep an eye on if he holds that fullback spot.
Hmm.
Not convinced. Not convinced. The way I see this whole thing is Seabold can come out and say, oh, we're gonna put Turbo in the centres, Tim, because of his workload. But I think it's just get the fitness back, play him a few games in centres, then he's back to fullback.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. It's going to be a really interesting play. Let's be honest. Let's look at the real figures. I mean, I don't have the numbers, the exact numbers in front of me, but let's look at the real figures. To be honest, that how many games has the guy played in the last 4 seasons?
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
has he strung any more than about a dozen games per year?
Mm,
Not to mention having the best part of a whole season off as well, and he's done that a couple of times. So, look, mate, you can imagine they want him to keep playing footy. They know how important he and his brothers are to the club. They've got to find a spot for him, and if he keeps getting snapped at fullback, then
mm,
look, maybe they have to look for something long term, and they need to persist with it. Otherwise, the guy's going to be broken before he's
mm.
30, and they'll never get the real money's worth out of him, or get the rewards out of holding him, I guess. Because I'd
Yeah,
imagine he's on pretty much top dollar or
yeah.
thereabouts. He'd be one of the highest paid players in the
Oh
club.
yeah,
They want to keep him
100%.
happy and keep the family happy. So. Yeah,
I
look, mate,
think D, I think only
they've
D, I
got to
think
find some
only D,
longevity.
I think only DC is on more money than him, but
Mm.
yeah. All right, next game, Roosters versus the Dargans.
Hold on, go
For
back.
the
Let's go
Yeah,
back a step. Look, I know a lot of people have been selling Drinkwater. I know a lot of people are jumping off Val Holmes as well.
yep.
Um, yeah, it's all interesting. I've kept Ruben Garrick for the last month, even though he hasn't played, which I'm really happy because now there's a lot of people that'll be trying to find a way to bring him
Mm-hmm.
in, and maybe it's an
Yep.
alternative with Mano being out. Someone going someone different. But look, I've still got Lomax and I've still got Garrick, and I've been happy hold there. But look, I am pretty keen on Cooler actually as a bit of a trade in pod direction, hoping that he keeps that spot. He's certainly not going to fall out of the side, and the Manly draw for the run home isn't horrendous.
They have a good run, that's for sure. Right, Roosters and the Dargans. For the Roosters, Joey Mano's out for a month with the fractures to his hand. Jennings comes into the side. Lindsay Collins goes back in the starting side with Terrell May going back to the bench. Boo, 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 boo. You know it's that, Tim. Sorry if I don't sneeze first. Every game he started, he's actually scored a try this year.
Who's that?
Terrell May.
Yeah, wow.
And don't forget he hasn't started many games.
No, but that's my point. That's why I'm glad that I kept him while everybody else has been selling.
Well, he's he's highly traded out this week. He's got a break even of what, 19, is it, I think? Like
Something
he's still
like
got
that.
a bit of cash to be made. Surely at least wait one more week before you sell him. He's my ticket to Payne Haas.
Hmm.
Round 20. That's my trade. It'll be nearly straight swap come round 20, give or take.
Hmm.
Right. For the Dragons, your man Lomax is back after being rested. Matt Feeguy's out, and Jack Bird is listed in amongst the reserves. Tell you what, I was sweating bullets going into that last game last week, Tim. Moscow was absolute shithouse, and that had 7 players in that last game,
Hmm.
and I think 5 of them were Roosters players.
Yeah, look, it was a tough one. I was,
Tough being a Tigers supporter and standing there cheering on Teddy scoring tries against your own team.
yep, it's the age-old case of head over heart, isn't it? Look,
Well,
I was listening to this. I was
I
listening to
still
this
have a
game in
spot.
the
I still
car.
have a soft spot for Teddy though. He may have left us, but I still love him.
I was listening to that game in the car on the way home from the sunny
Yeah.
coast. Yeah, mate, it was good to listen to. It was hard to hear when Joey Manu went down, but I knew that basically every man and his dog had him. So yeah, it's just a shame that he's lost as much cash as he has, and he'll have a pretty high break even when he does come back.
Tilly Tupanua. I can't bring another Roosters player in because I've already got five, but he's priced at under 300K.
Mm.
And if he holds that centre spot, he actually looked good on the weekend, Tim.
Yeah,
I know
and
you
he's a
didn't
bit,
see it, but he actually played really, really well. It was like having an extra second row out on that edge, playing in the centres. It's like a
yeah, that's
Fafita, but not the build of a Fafita, if you know what I mean.
yeah, absolutely, mate. That's what I was going to say. He's a big body that they like to use as that extra decoy runner out there. So, look, I'm really hoping that that left-hand side scores a lot of points over the next few weeks, especially with Teddy sweeping through. Look, they're going to have the options then of going to Satili or going out even wider. So, yeah, look, mate, I couldn't do it, but I could certainly see there being a world where others could.
Sam Walker, Tim. There's a few trading him out this week. Break
Mm.
even of 60, playing against the Dargans. A lot of people, I presume, are going to Nico because it's only 15K difference in price. Can you believe that?
Yeah, look, it's
What
when
would
Nico's
could you
certainly
do
come
it?
a long way from his
Could you do it?
1.1 million.
What's your thoughts? Could you do it? What do you think about going Sam
Uh,
Walker for this one?
I,
Which Dargans are going to turn up? That's the question.
it's exactly right, mate. I'd be holding on to Sam Walker for this game, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna sit on him for this game.
Mm.
Hope he tons up, and then I won't even have to fork out anything to go to Nico next week because next week when they play the Tigers, you want him.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
want him in your team for sure. You
Mm.
have to. It's just like one of those ones that you have to have.
Yeah.
Mind you, though, last time he played the Tigers, I don't think he scored very well because we flogged them, if I remember rightly. Don't know where that come from, but anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, and you've
Um,
got to think with the Sharks playing the Titans this week as well. The Titans won, put on 66 points or whatever the hell it was only a couple of weeks
yeah.
ago, and they've just had the bye to freshen up. So you'd be hoping that they're fully punched and ready to go.
What should we talk about here, Timmy? What
Look, so
about Angus Crichton, Mr. Angus?
no,
He's,
absolutely. He's one that everyone will be keeping their eye on, whether they bring him back this week or wait till after 19. That's probably the hardest part is obviously that he's not going to be available for 19 with Origin being on. So look, he'll be back around 20, you'd hope, unless he gets a rest pre-finals. But yeah, you've certainly got to look at him in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
do you know what's frustrating? Because you look at the Roosters draw team in the next few weeks, you could own 9 or 10 Roosters players in your team.
Mm.
Connor
Yeah,
Watson's another
absolutely.
one. I know you've got your eye on as well. Mate, the bloke's absolutely killing it as well. Um, yeah, there's just so much there that you could like. I mean, Dom Young's another one that's highly owned, which I don't think he's going to go as well now with Joey Manu out. I don't think his scoring will be as good. Uh, so
I don't know. I can see.
Tupanua. So hang on, Joey Manu was Joey Manu number 3 or number 4? He was 4, wasn't he? Or was he 3? Just trying to think.
No, I think they've got Tupanua playing inside of him, don't they? Inside
No, well,
of
Joey
Dom
Manu's
Young.
normally number 4.
Yeah.
So they've swapped Tupanua to the other side then by the looks. Put Jennings on the left. That's what they've done. I
Yeah,
don't know.
not sure.
I wouldn't be trading in Dom Young. I just had a look. Dom Young, there's a few trading him in this week. I wouldn't be doing it. Definitely not trade in.
Hmm. I'm
Right.
I'm happy. Happy that people don't trade him in
Yeah.
because returns.
Right.
The only
Last
thing I will say
game.
with, sorry,
Yes.
Roscoe, the only thing I will say with the Roosters is everyone's got to watch out that they've got the bye in round 23, and that's
Yep.
actually the first round of head-to-head finals.
Yep.
So keep an eye on that one. If you've got your team stacked with Roosters, you're not going to have any of them for the
Mm.
round one of knockout finals with your head-to-heads.
I think you need to sell. I think you need to probably only have a couple by that stage. You're gonna have to start selling a few,
Yeah, absolutely.
unfortunately. Right, Raiders Knights last game for the Raiders. KO Weeks at fullback, which he did play last week anyway. Partner on the wing, Hopper White in the centres, Adam Cook at halfback. Tasagi joins in the same bench. Jordan Martin out with concussion. For the Knights, Ponga is the back, which puts Mr. Sharp at fullback, which I did warn people about last week that this would probably happen. Uh, Leo
Sorry,
Thompson returns.
you mean which takes Sharp out of fullback,
Yeah.
puts him into fullback.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, you know what I
absolutely.
mean. Yeah.
Hmm.
Leo Thompson returns after being late withdrawal last week. Dylan Lucas is back on the bench. Uh, uh, Dennis Crossan will miss the mash. So Jaden Brayley starts at number 9. So it looks like Fletcher Sharp will play the utility role off the bench. And Jack Etherington and Matt Croker make way. Look, I didn't hate the Sharp trade in last week, Tim, as it to bank some cash, but I mean, obviously once Phoenix Crossan comes back into that team next week, he probably drops out, and he's another A nightmare, really, isn't he? I mean, if you're banking him on making some cash this week, I'd imagine, give or take, you probably see Brayley probably play 60 minutes, probably see maybe 20 minutes out of Sharp.
Yeah, and then I mean I don't know the guy personally, but I don't know if that's the kind of position that he can play, or if they
Mm,
got him there as a bit of a fallback plan in case Ponga does not last the 80 minutes. Do
yeah.
they bring Ponga, sort of give him 60 straight or something like that, and then bring Fletcher Sharp on for the last 20 minutes? Who really knows? But it's going to be interesting to see. Mate, a bit of a pod play in some of the chat groups that I've been listening to today, checking out. Dan Gaggai's name has come up as a pod for the run home. While again, zigging and zagging, when people are talking about Best and Marzu, going Dan Gaggai as a fairly consistent pod play for the run home. He doesn't have the same ceiling anymore, I think, that he did 3 or 4 years ago, but he's pretty much safe as houses. You're looking at 60 points plus every week or thereabouts. So I don't hate the trade. But yeah, I think there's probably some other options that you could look at.
Yeah, I put this in my article today as well. For those who are selling Joey Manu, I think, as I said, for an extra 50K, you can go to Bradman Best, or you can bank 120K going to Marzu. Timmy, I really like both. I'm a bit split. I think Marzu's got a break even of, I think it was minus 20. So he'll make a ton of cash this week, but he won't be out of reach for next week if you decide to wait a week. Whereas with Bradman Best, he's at 670K. So he'll be over 700K with a break even of 5. So I think Best, if you're going to get on him, this is the week. I don't think you can get on Best next week and pay over 700K for him. I think you're better off waiting and getting Brian Toto instead. But what's your thoughts on it all? Which way would you be going?
The only thing I would say is if you're tossing a coin trying to work out which one to go for, the only thing that I would probably say that goes against Best is the fact that he's probably only one injury out of the back line from New South Wales from him moving into one of those spots there. So they can obviously move pieces around. I mean, let's say their fullback goes down, Latrell goes to fullback, and then there's a centre spot there, and probably Bradman Best is probably the first one in. So I couldn't do it. I'm pretty keen on Marju for the fact that he's got the ceiling. He's at a really good price at the moment. He's got a low BE. So look, that's the way that I'm going for a multitude of reasons, in that he's more likely to make more cash over a quicker period of time as well.
Yeah, I think it'd have to go down to Latrell or Critter to get injured for him to be in. Obviously, Latrell won't go to fullback because I'll bring Teddy in, but I see where you're going with it all. I get it. Yeah. Anyone else that you like from this game? I think we've spoken about the obvious. I think, as I put in my article, KPP's a sell. I think any Raiders players you have should be gone now, except for maybe for Tarpany's exception. Jordan Rapiner needs to go. He's not playing fullback. He's not getting good scores on the wing, so I think he needs to go as well.
Yeah, look, I can't disagree with any of that. I've dumped Smithies this week. I didn't get to watch this game, so I'm not really sure how it played out. But I've got Kai Pearce-Paul. He was my trade out last week, and I still held on to him as I only made the one trade in the end. But if he's starting second row and the ceiling that he's got or the potential that he's got, I don't know. I think it's probably a luxury trade. I could probably hold him. He's not going to give me a 20. His floor might be a 35, but I think the higher side of a 60 to 65 average probably outweighs that. Um, yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm in a case now, just after the one trade of getting rid of Smithies this week for Olakau'atu. Look, I've now got Eli Katoa, Nakora, Dave Fafita, Olakau'atu, and then I've got KPP and Brandon Piakura. So look, I think as far as a 5 and a 6 second row goes, I could probably do worse than those two boys.
I think you've made the right call getting rid of Smithies this week. But if you do own KPP and you want to get rid of him and you want to get Ola, I think that's the play. I would just be pulling that trigger. I know, Tim, as you said, that you're getting rid of Smithies, and I would too. But I just think at 530K, break even at 73, he's going to start to leak a lot of cash. He's not going to play. He won't play 80 minutes. So, yeah, it's hard.
I think their bench is interesting too. With Sharp there, Jacob Saifidi, Brody Jones, they'll obviously play through the middle. Dylan Lucas, Lord knows where Dylan Lucas will end up playing. And maybe that's the hard part. Maybe it's like a 40-40 share with KPP. I'm not really sure there.
I'd be surprised if Sharp stays on that bench. I think he's there for cover, and then I think either Cogger or Cant might come in to play that backup utility type role. I'm not too sure. It's very interesting.
Yep, I agree.
Right, that's all the games covered. We've probably gone a bit longer than what we should have gone, but we've got through it all. So thanks, Timmy, for jumping on. Thanks again to our sponsors, Bluebet, for jumping on again. If you don't have an account with them, go check them out. You make a deposit, send me a message, and we will look after you. Okay.
Hey mate, how did we actually go with our multi in the end? I know it was looking good for most of it.
Good. No good.
No good.
No.
Don't.
We missed two try scorers.
Oh bugger, so close.
Yeah. So 4 out of 6 ain't close, but yeah. Anyway. Until Sunday night, we'll see you then. We've got Dan from the NRL Supercoach Tragics podcast coming on. We should be back to around 7 o'clock time slot next week. We don't have that later game. So until then, we will see you on Sunday night. Have a good round, everyone.
Absolutely. Stay safe. Be good.